Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Malin Havefjell, and in this video, we're going to start to add numbers into our simplified annual report, and this is only for sole traders. If you run a limited company, there will be other videos for you to check out how to do your annual report. And what we're doing is that we're following a company, an example company that we can find in the brochure from the tax agency that's called Bokföring, bokslut och deklaration SKV 282. And in this brochure, we also follow along and see how to do the annual report, the simplified annual report. But I suggest that we do this in the free e-service that the tax agency has on their website, www.skatteverket.se. There you search for the simplified annual report, förenklat årsbokslut, and you can sign in to the free e-service there so you have all the information. In the last video, we checked how to just make all the preparation for this one. So now we will start looking at the balance report. And so we are in the step for kassa och bank. That is the first step. And I suggest if you look to the left, you see there is like a list of all the different things, the headlines of all the things that we need to take care of to do the annual report. And I suggest you take them from the top and follow them along. So just click Nästa, next all the time, even if one of the steps isn't for you to add any information in. It's good to follow the steps that they have added here. There is actually a reason for them to be in this order, and that is if you have added some information there, might be that some of this information should be in one of the next ones, so they will pre-fill all this for you, so it's easier for you to have everything completed at the end. So start from the top and work your way through. So we start with Kassa och Bank. And please print out the balance report from your software, from your bookkeeping, so you have that in hand. And also, before you can start do this, double check, reconciliate your bookkeeping, so see that all is booked as it should be. And the first thing to double check is that your bank, the amount that you can see in your bookkeeping on the bank account should match with what you see in reality. If it doesn't, then there's something wrong with your bookkeeping and you need to go back and fix that before you can start to do your simplified annual report. And now we look at Berit Godin, our example company owner, and in her bookkeeping we can see that she had 6,550 Swedish kronor in her cash, and on the bank she had 17,815 Swedish kronor. So that is what she had here in her simplified annual report. And now we click on next, and then we come to suppliers, invoices from suppliers. And this first year, Berit didn't have any invoices from suppliers that she hadn't paid, but the next year after, so this is the example from year 2, there she had received invoices from suppliers that she hadn't paid during December. I guess she paid them in January. And then since she's doing her bookkeeping according to the cash method, she needs to add that information here. So what she is doing is that she add the invoice number, the supplier, and what she purchased, and the ingoing VAT. The reason for this is that this is a cost that should be on the year 2 and not on year 3. So that is what she add. And if she has paid this before she do the annual report, she can also add the date when she paid it in the last column there. And then this will be like a documentation she saves in her bookkeeping for next year, and it will be easy for her to double check that this was recorded and paid, and which invoices it was. And next thing to do is to click Save and Nästa. So that is what we do. And now we come to part, and me translating this into English. B1, that is easy for me to translate. I guess you could read that as well. So this is more like like you have assets that isn't things that you can actually touch. It can be like a patent, your website, license, things that has a value and things that you have purchased. And if you would sell it, you could get some money for it. So it's not like, okay, I have a website. Nah, it's if you have purchased like the name that has a high value. So you should be able to get money from this if you sold it to a third party. Usually when you are a sole trader, you don't have this kind of assets, but you might have a patent or something like that. So then you add that here. In Berit's fall, he doesn't have that, so we just click Nästa. The next thing is if you own any properties or have any land. This is maybe if you are like a farmer or something like that, or own forests, then you add information here. And the good thing with this e-service is that you see there is like a link, a little blue text to say läs hela texten. You can click on that one, and then you will have more information to read what should be added in this part, in this section. So if you have any property, if you own any buildings or something like that, then you add that here. And you can also scroll down to add more information. And yeah, if this is for you, double check the information and see what to add where. And in Berit's file, we can just click on the next part. And this is if you have any land that you can't make any depreciations on, but you still have it as an asset, then it also should be visible here. Usually this is already booked in your bookkeeping. So if you see that you have any information, any numbers in this part, like mark or things that you are not allowed to make any depreciations of, then you add that information here. And also you can click on the läs hela texten, the link, that one, and see more information. In Berit's fall, she doesn't own any properties or land, and then we just click Nästa. And then we come to the inventories, like machines and inventories, things that actually can have some depreciation. And in Berit's fall, she has purchased something for 10,000 Swedish kronor, and the software here calculates the depreciation for her. But in this case, actually, the pre-filled calculation here is wrong, because Berit's first financial year is shorter. It's only 3 months, and this calculations is for 12 months. So what we need to do here is to change that amount. So we tick the little box, använd ett eget beräknat skattemässigt värde, and calculate the depreciation for her. So what the amount should be. And in this case, the amount left would be 9,250. So remember that if you have a shorter or longer first financial year. But when you are running your company, when you're up and running and you have had your first financial year, this will be correct for you, because then you will always have 12 months. Yep. And the next part is if you have any other assets, like you have any shares in like a cooperative, yeah, for something like something. Sorry, my English, I don't know the words here, but this is not so common either. But double check if you feel that you have some shares in some other, let's say, company, foundation, something like that, and that it has a value and it should be in your bookkeeping. Then you add that information here. In Berit's fall, no. So we just click Next. And then we come to the inventories. And here you do like you calculate all the things that you have in your inventory the 31st of December and see the value of that one, and you add that information here. And then this e-service calculates the deduction that you are allowed to do, like a standard deduction. And in Berit's fall, the value is under 5,000 Swedish kronor, and then she can choose to not add this as an asset in her company. And my recommendation is that if the value is below 5,000, don't add that as an asset. Use the exception that you can just deduct the total amount right away this year. It will be easier for you. Then we come to the next part. That is if you have sent out any invoices to your clients' customers and they haven't paid. So then you add that information like we did with the supplier invoices before. And in this case, Berit had sent out an invoice that wasn't paid, and so she add that information here. And if it has been paid after New Year's and before she does this annual report, she can also add the date when it actually was paid, just for remembrance. Yeah, and then we come to the next part, and that is the taxes. And we choose how the yearly VAT, so that is what we will see here. And the top part is if we have had any employees and if we have any debts left for it. In Berit's fall, she doesn't, so we just scroll down to the part where we look at the VAT. And then we check our bookkeeping again, and we look at the outgoing VAT, the output VAT, and we can see in our journal that that is 2,100. And as you can see now, the software has pre-filled the information from the invoices that we had sent out but wasn't paid. So that we can also see here. And then we have the ingoing VAT. We also check from our bookkeeping that amount and add it here. And for year 2 in this example, there would also be an amount from the supplier invoices here. Now we look at first year. So there is no amount there. And what we can see is that she owes the tax agency 1,620 Swedish kronor. So that information we also need to have in our annual report. We click on next. And this is the part if you have any other, if somebody owes you money for something else that you haven't been able to add in any of the other boxes. So then you add that here. In Berit's file, there's nothing. So we click on the next one. And this is if you have any debts, like you have, let's say you have a loan from Almi, for example, then you add that information here. So we can see in your balance report who is the owner of that loan. That should be visible in your annual report here. And in the next part is if you have any other debts that wasn't, where you couldn't add that information in any other boxes. So here you add that information. And that was all for the balance report. So not so hard, actually. Just print out your own balance report from your software, and then you transfer all the numbers here. You don't need to have like a big expensive software to do the simplified annual report. You can use this free version of the tax agency. And the good part here is that you can later just upload it. It's connected to your income tax return. So we click on the next one. And oh, sorry, we also had an example from year 2 here, where she actually had received money for something that she hadn't finished yet. So in this part, she had received money in advance for a work that she will complete in January, for example. And then when she actually complete the work, then that is when she report the VAT. So in this case, she doesn't report any VAT on this cell because she hasn't performed the service yet. Yeah. And then we have some other information that we need to add as well if you decide to do any of this. And there are different ways to do where you can like make some tax planning. And they can be a little hard to explain just general like this when we don't have your accurate numbers. So I suggest you read here, läs hela texten, that link that you can read more, or you can go to the tax agency's website and see more if you want to use any of these, or you wait until you have your income tax return, and then it will be more easy for you to calculate what will be more profitable for you to use. That is my suggestion, at least, that you do that in your income tax return. And if you need help with anything of this, then you can, of course, book a meeting with me. And the easiest way to do this, that is to use my online calendar, www.havefjall.se/kalender, spelled in Swedish. And when you do so, and when we have that meeting, you can share your screen and I can guide you through this e-service. In the next video, we will look at how the profit and loss report is done in this e-service. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss that one. And also look at all the other videos here on my channel, where you can find a lot of good information for your bookkeeping and regarding the taxes and how to handle taxes and think and yeah, all that kind of things. So check all those out as well. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.